a data source and in standalone mode, right? So there is a difference between creating and allocating a data source in standalone mode and domain mode, right? So in standalone mode, simply you can create it and your server will access the data source and your applications. No matter how many applications you deploy, you can create number of data sources, and all the applications can access the data source and connect with the respective database in the backend. So now we are going to work on a scenario. The scenario is domain mode with two slaves hosting one server on each slave, right? So let us have an overview, like how exactly the connections work. So this is our application, and we have already created a data source, Oracle DS. And when you create a data source, a connection pool will be created, and this is your backend Oracle database, right? So your application is executing, actually, your Jboss server is executing something from your application code, and that code requires a database connection, a transaction. It needs to execute some query. So your application will look up with this JNDI name. So when you create a data source, you already give the data source name along with the JNDI name. So this JNDI in its registry, it already contains the mapping. So JNDI name mapped with Oracle DS data source. So it starts to look up. JNDI registry will provide the return with the right data source reference, which is Oracle DS. And your application in the code, it will have a method called getConnection. So it will ask the data source to provide a connection. If the connection pool contains active connections, idle connections, so it will request for the connection to the connection pool, and your connection pool, if there are idle connection objects in the connection pool, it will provide the connection object to your application. And your application, once it gets the connection object, it will execute the SQL query using the given connection from the connection pool. It will establish a connection with the database in the backend. On the database server, you know how the query works. So the database will serve the execute the query, and it will send the query result to the application. So once your application gets the result, it will again, the developer has to write this code, close the connection. If the connection in the code, it is not written, then the connection will not be closed and it will not be reused for other requests. So that is going to give you a major problem. Your connection pool will get exhausted. No more connections will be available if this close method is not defined in the application. All right. So this is how it works. Now, so this is our scenario. The mode is domain. We have two hosts, slave 1 and slave 2. There is a server group, and on each slave, there is one server under this group. And we are going to create a data source mapped to this JNDI name. And the database is Oracle DB.